Okay, so this is solving inequalities. Inequalities get solved the same way you would do an equation. So if we had this equation, 1 half x minus 6 equals 5 and 1/4, you would do what you would typically do. PEMDAS in reverse, so addition, subtraction first. So you would add 6 to both sides. You're left with 1 half x on the left-hand side. Over here would be 11 and 1/4. And then the next step, you would get rid of this 1 half by dividing by 1 half on both sides, which is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So it would be 1 half x times 2 over 1, 11 1/4 times 2 over 1. These cancel each other out. We're just going to be left with x on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, I know 11 times 2 is 22, and 1/4 times 2 is 1 half. So it's going to be 22 and 1 half. Now, inequalities, the only difference is it's not an equal sign. Instead, you may have less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. That's the only difference. They still get solved the same way. So if I put a less than sign here, it's going to be that way all the way down through my solution. When I'm finished with it, I have to graph it. Now, we've done graphing before, but we haven't done it for quite a while. Just to review, less than or greater than, you're using an open circle. It's kind of like a force field around that number. You're not including the number. Less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, that one, that's that closed dot because you are including the number. So when I graph x is less than 22 and 1 half, it's going to be, there's my 0, 22 and 1 half. It's less than, so I'm going to use an open circle. And it's going to be going to the left. Now, if you have your variable on the left-hand side, like I do here, the sign actually indicates which way the arrow is going to be pointing. So it's going to be pointing this way. That's true each and every time, just so long as your variable is on the left-hand side. If it's on the right-hand side, you have to flip it. Okay, so that's solving inequalities. There is one exception when you solve an inequality, and that's when you have to multiply or divide by a negative number when it's connected to the variable. So, actually, let me put that problem back up again, and I'll show you the difference here. So the solution was x is less than 22 and 1 half. I'm going to move this over here. That's our solution. And I'm going to erase this. Now, the difference would be if 1 half were negative, I actually need to do something special with it. Now, I still go through the same process, adding 6 to both sides. It's going to be 10 and 1/4 and negative 1 half x. Now I multiply by the reciprocal, which is the same thing as dividing by negative 1 half. But I'll go ahead and skip that step. So x is going to be left here. Those cancel each other out. And it's negative 22 and 1 half on the right-hand side. Now, if I were to replace x with a value that's less than 22 and 1 half, this is what happens. Let's pick something that's easy to multiply. 50, 100 is really easy. So I'm going to replace the variable with negative 100 because that's less than negative 22 and 1 half. So when I multiply that, half of negative 100 times negative 1/2 is 50, minus 6, that gives me 44. However, 44 is not less than 5 1/4. You're going to find this each and every time you have to multiply by a negative number to get the variable by itself. What you in fact have to do is flip the inequality. So you do that I would probably do it right here. You flip the inequality to make the statement true. Again, it's only when you have to multiply by a negative number. So in your books, go ahead and take a look at 3, 5, and 7 on page 320. 3, 5, and 7. Pause this movie, and when you start it up again, I'll work on putting 3, 5, and 7 up. So pause now. All right, number 3, we have negative 6x is greater than 18. As I was stating before, you have to flip the inequality when you divide by a negative number or multiply by a negative number. So I have to divide both sides by negative 6. So x is less than now, so I switched it, less than negative 3. I can prove this open circle going to the left. I can prove this by picking a number that's less than negative 3. Let's say it's negative 10. So negative 6 times negative 10 greater than 18. So negative 6 times negative 10 is 60, and that is true. If I were to have kept it as x is greater than negative 3, if I didn't switch it over here, it would be, I would pick a number that's greater than negative 3, let's say 0. Negative 6 times 0 is greater than 18, so 0 is greater than 18. That's not true. So that is the reason why we have to flip the inequality. All right, looking at number 5, we have 3.3 plus y equals negative 13.2. I could rewrite this using commutative property, so this would be y plus 3.3 equals negative 13.2. Do I have to do that? No, but I like it the way it looks better. So I subtract negative 3.3 from both sides, or subtract 3.3 from both sides. I'm left with y here, and this sum over here, or the difference over here, would be negative 16.5. Whoops, I forgot to include the inequality. So this was greater than, and this doesn't change at all. So the answer is going to be y is greater than or equal to negative 16.5. So here's negative 16.5. There's the 0. To graph it, I'm going to use a closed circle here. And it's greater than negative 16.5, so it's going to go to the right. I didn't have to flip my inequality because I didn't divide by a negative number or multiply by a negative number. Number 7, a little more detailed there. I have 2 steps again. Two-thirds h minus a negative 3 greater than 6. I want to rewrite this 2/3 h plus 3. Combining those two operations makes it a little bit easier, and I don't have to think about adding a negative. It gets kind of confusing. So all I have to do is subtract 3 here. So I'm left with 2/3 h is greater than 3. I have to divide both sides by 2/3, which is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. These cancel each other out. I'm just left with h. And on the right-hand side, it's going to be 9/2, or that's the same thing as 4 1/2. Notice I didn't have to flip my inequality because I didn't divide or multiply by a negative number. So h is greater than 9/2 or 4 1/2. There's 4 1/2. Open circle, and since my variable's on the left-hand side, it's showing me which way the arrow's pointing. It's going to be pointing to the right.